Most people wonder what makes a life well lived. It is something that people question at least once in their life. Kids, teenagers, adults, the elderly, and any other person will have different views on this topic. It is not money or possessions, although these could really help you. It is also not clothes, a car, or a house. After reading and listening to many stories, I believe that I now know something about a fulfilling life. It is mostly about relationships, your choices, and not letting things stop or discourage you. If you follow these keys to life, it can really help you. You will soon realize the valuable things that are truly needed in life. You can live a fulfilling life if you don't let anything stop you from doing what you love. A movie that I had seen perfectly shows this idea. In this movie, a man named Walter felt he had a dull, boring life. He was brought down by his peers, and he felt that he was very uninteresting. On the inside, though, he had so many ideas and dreams. He went and had an amazing adventure to another country, solved a mystery, and met a girl. He didn't let anything stop him from living life to the fullest. He kept going when everybody he knew doubted him, even his friends and family. He wasn't discouraged even through the pain and struggle. He chose to not let people or problems dictate his life. I have also seen this documentary where a woman named Susie had a very hard life. Her family was sent to an internment camp, and her husband joined the military. The husband died, and she felt like she had no other purpose in life. She even wanted to kill herself because she felt there was nothing left anymore. However, she found a new purpose in life through her kids. She didn't let the death of her husband keep her from living her life. She saw a new life in her kids. She eventually raised them, and they grew into a giant family. She was amazed that she couldn't see it before, but now she could. She had no regrets living in this new life. These stories show people who have gone through the worst, but kept going even when the times were tough. Live life to the fullest, and don't let anything stop you. Good relationships give true happiness. I heard this great TED Talk called What Makes a Good Life. The title of this TED Talk was a question that the speaker had thought about. He said that millennials claim that fame and wealth made a good life. Then he wanted to know what the people who had gone through all of life said about this. He had a group that made studies on multiple men's lives, poor and rich. They interviewed them all throughout their lives. No matter how bad the situations, circumstances, and problems they were in, they all came to this one conclusion: good relationships can make us happier and healthier. When your money and possessions are gone, your relationships with your family and friends will always be there. That's why relationships are most important. Relationships give support, love, and help. These are all things that money can't buy. I read this story called The Last Night of the World. One night a man had this dream about the end of the world. The next day he went to his wife and asked about the dream. He explained that everybody he knew had the same dream. Even though they had heard about the current situation, they were content because they were good people and were with their daughters. It shows that even when the world ends, all they care about was their family. They were content with dying because they had a great relationship. They didn't think about their cars, clothes, jewelry, or anything. In the end, none of those things mattered to them. That is why good relationships give true happiness. Making good choices will affect your life in a good or bad way. My grandma once told me this story about a man who ruined his life. He was very smart and caring. He had a good amount of money and lots of friends. However, he started doing drugs and drinking alcohol. His personality had completely changed. He went from kind and polite to rude and rambunctious. He got into fights with all his friends and family. With all his time drinking, he eventually lost all of his money. He basically lost everything. His friends left him and he was all alone. He fell into a deep depression, and his life has never been the same since. Just one choice had cost him his whole life. One choice changed the trajectory of his life from a promising future to a sad life. It is very important to be cautious with your choices, or you can end up like him and many other people in the same position. There was this tale I read about 3 brothers. They were wandering wizards walking on a path. They came to a dead end with a river, so they made a bridge. Death, the enemy in the story, was mad that they didn't die in the river, so he came up to them and decided to give them wishes. One brother wished for a powerful wand, one wished for a rock that raised the dead, and the other wished for an invisibility cloak. 2 of the brothers died from bad choices, and one of them lived a good life. The problem with the wand was that it fueled the brother's ego and pride. The problem with the rock was that it made that brother cling to the past. The last brother chose wisely, because the cloak would help him and eventually his son. So the lesson here is, go through life wisely. It is obviously important to enjoy life and do things that are fun. But you should also be very careful about the choices you make, because they can definitely ruin your life. With all of these things considered, the keys to a life well lived are living life to the fullest, good relationships, and wise choices. When going through life, don't let anything discourage you from achieving your goals. People, circumstances, and thoughts can stop you. It is just a matter of letting it manage your life or overcoming it. Relationships are the most important part in life. When you have nothing left, your friends and family will have your back. These are the only things that can give you happiness, even with how much you value your possessions. You must also be very careful with the choices you make, because one wrong mistake can ruin your life. Every day we have to face tough choices, but you have to make sure you pick the right one. It can be very difficult, but it is very important. Keeping all of these aspects in mind will help you throughout your life. The stories that I had read were examples of fulfilling, well-lived lives. Hopefully you graduates too can also